is a global digesting tank group. Sirat, can you introduce a little bit about yourself? Where are you right now and what are you doing to our audience? Please, Sirat.
Yes, sir. Good evening and hello, everybody there. Sir, I hail from the state of Jammu and Kashmir, India, which is a conflict zone precisely, uh, and acclaimed internationally as well. But living in the Indian part of, the J&K, India precisely. I have completed my master's in political science and government from Kashmir University and another post-graduation in international relations and diplomacy. Plus, I've had certain internships, regionally as well. And right now, I am enrolled in a PhD program and working solely on state politics in India and contributing to 2 or 3 forums as such as a research scholar. One is the African Union Wing, that is PAY Diplomats Forum, and previously have been a member of the International Diplomatic Club as a project officer, have contributed there as well, and campaigning for Zimbabwe's election for People's Patriotic Party and Citizens for Coalition Change as a research scholar, and doing my bit and trying to, full on struggling and trying to do my bit in the social sector. And I just believe and I just aim at working to a social sector and delivering in the best of my capacity and looking forward to working with the honored global digest. And President Zwarangini Samuel Chelsea is a very good friend of mine, and Nelson Chamisa, the president of the Party of Citizens for Coalition Change. I have been contributing my bit as an Indian, in my capacity as an Indian, and we have been felicitating and facilitating as well the support we could as Indians because of the barbaric rule, we saw on the internet, news, TV, whatever ways, digital ways we could. And we just extended our full-fledged support and stood in solidarity with them. The current government is, putting on the anti-fascist laws there, and we stringently are against it. So we believe that the people have right to dissent and put their word before the government, so that everyone has a right to live a life of dignity and a life of, have a decent living. At times it's that I want to contribute myself, and I don't, the best of my capacity would be as a social worker. Not, it's not always about money. It's sometimes it's more than that. It's beyond that.
Right.
It's about humanity. It's about a concern that you offer as a fellow citizen of a country, as an Indian. It's just not about money at times. It's about humanity, kindness, empathy, compassion. We Indians strongly believe in that. I have done my specialization in South Asia with my focus on Kashmir studies and South Asian studies as well, which comprises of 8 countries. I'm an alumni to South Asia Foundation SARC as well from previous 10 years. I'm contributing in my capacity there as well. And I'm the member of Center for Social Research and Consulting, India, as a member. The organization head is a very good friend of mine, and at times I help in some ways. I just contribute my ways to him and all of that. So I come up with some suggestions just as a researcher. I cannot do much, but just trying my bit. We have been working with the Indian Diplomatic Club, the Delhi chapter. I've previously been working there for like quite some time, and the Prime Minister's advisor, Dr. Deepak Vohra, has been, guiding us. We were actually promoting G20, some days ago, and it's going to come
Right.
by September, just coming September. So right now I have kind of given it up for some time because I had my own reasons to do so, because BJP's, stance is quite different right now, and it's going kind of communal. So I didn't want to be a part of communal politics, to be honest. My mentality has always been secular and very liberal. So right now things have been, not what it should have been. But when you work in some space, you have certainly have reservations. So therefore, I thought of dropping off that for quite some time, because the international focus is completely,
Right.
you know it, so you know it better than me. So I've taken an off from that. Yeah.
So, you have any position in which, I mean, you belong to which party, BJP or Congress or any other party in
No,
India?
no, 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 no. I don't belong to any of it. I don't belong. I'm just a research scholar. I don't belong to any of it. I'm a common citizen of India who believes in putting my people's voice first. Normally, you can call me a normal activist, simply a social worker in my capacity. That's all. I can define myself as such. Just a researcher
Not,
who is just
not
begin
party
learning.
politics,
That's all.
not party
No,
politics.
no party politics. No, 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 not at all, sir.
Right. So, uh, maybe I want to ask a little bit interesting because you mentioned about G20. So, what role did you involve during G20 hosted by India? And what is the outcome of G20? What is achieved by India?
Yes, sir. It's actually that they're promoting it. The basis for it is economic development, to be honest enough. Putting India first. It's going to be like 19 countries as an amalgam have chosen Mr. Modi's, presence and has taken him in a very auspicious and very positive way and has given him and passed on the presidency as in G21. So it's going to be. We previously had a summit, a week ago. It was known as the G20 Spiritual Summit, which was conducted in Varanasi. So it is more about the business things. It is more trade related. It is trade related diplomacy. It is cultural diplomacy, to be honest. So it's going to be, putting India first in terms of trade and culture, you know, putting bilateral trade relations on the forefront. Yeah, that's the cause. That's the, substance, what I can tell you. Out of this, the gist is trade related diplomacy and putting culture first.
So, it's a
And
foreign.
emerging is one of the, sorry, and emerging as one of the superpowers kind of in marking it in South Asia as the one supreme power. It's all power politics, as you know very well. So it's that India wants to emerge as a supreme power, and by G20, it has gotten the platform of being somewhere down the line and ruling like seven countries, putting it like being a supremacist one way, and the second way is it is economic supremacy as well. So it's power politics at large, sir.
Right, right. So, I mean, India is actually a good power. India received a good power in South Asia and around Asia regional, So it's no doubt India position. What about geopolitical issue? Is there any agenda or any a little bit discussion about conflict between Ukrainian and Russia, and also your neighbor military coup in Burma? Is there any this kind of topic? Anybody touch it?
Yes, sir, definitely, sir. To be honest, it's yeah, it's like see, countries have their own benefits. It's always trade related, be it's always culture related, or it's always defense related. So there are many aspects to it. First, India holds good relations with Russia as India gets all kinds of import from Russia, be it a
Right.
nuclear warfare, ammunition, or stuff. So yes, definitely, it's going to make a big impact for Russia as well. And we have gotten a platform which is known as the BRICS, BRICS. So many countries
Right.
there have made an amalgam and they've come up and have teamed up for more nuclear power. It's always the power exchange, to be precise. It's always empowering your country with defense, kind of with ammunition, arms, in order to emerge as a global leader. In India right now is doing its stuff in a very good way, and therefore it has acquired the G20 presidency as well. I mean, it's an honor for India as country to reach there. It's not easy. The current scenario in world the previous Ukraine conflict, it has really, torn things apart in Russia on one part, but the imports and exports on the other side are going well. With India, at least I can speak of. So it's definitely the two-way trade that goes on. And yes, countries get benefited, and it's always for the benefit of large, the prime minister or the people in command. They try to do so. Yes.
I mean, I know India was, and India is very strong relationship with Russia, being member of BRICS, and also historically you have very close relationship with Russia. However, just for global peace and security, geopolitical concern, anything mentioned in G20 about Russia-Ukrainian conflict. India has strong relationship with Russia since very long time during Cold War
Yeah.
and post-Cold War, but uh, concern about international peace and geopolitical issue. India also have a role as a G20 leader to make peace current Russia-Ukrainian conflict. So is there anybody mentioned about that issue or nobody talked about it?
Oh, no, no, no. Right now, no, no. Right now in G20, it's not going to be the prime thing, to be honest. See,
I
India has
see.
its own political interests. First, it's got its own political interests with the United States of America. Hmm? You know that. Second, it's got its own interest with the Soviet Union, to be precise. So it's always bipolar things. Countries move that way. See, we can right now, if we move on to China, it's made its CPEC. So the sole motto behind that is the power strategy, right? So India similarly is backing up things with Russia for its nuclear benefits and all. The Rafale deal to all the ammunitions and all of it is important, and it's way more convenient for them because geostrategically it's also possible and quite helpful for both the countries, and both the countries take benefit out of it and are benefited out of it. So similarly, China does in Pakistan. You see. So it's just the block they're creating. Actually, to be honest, it's a block they are trying to create. It's India, Russia. It's India, America. It's China, Pakistan. It's China, Pakistan, Iran. It's like that. It's the Muslim world or the communist. It comes that way. So some way, religion is playing a very deep politics. So, and on the other side, there is deep sea as well. So many things lined up. And on the other side, you say matrix is there. So there are many, socio-political developments that are coming up, and every country is trying to take benefit from it. It's kind of with India, Russia, it's going to be a symbiotic relationship, you know,
I see.
and with Russia, yeah.
So at the last week G20 summit, Indian foreign minister nothing mentioned about Ukrainian-Russian conflict, and Russia foreign minister did not say anything about as well.
Yeah, Mr. Jaishankar. Yes, yes, yes. MEA, Mr. Jaishankar didn't speak about it. See, it's always politics, and politics is dirty. You know that very well. So see, it was like Pakistan was supporting Russia. Here for India, it was different. For America, it was different. Donald Trump to Joe Biden. It's always a two-way side thing. So it's that Pakistan was supporting USSR, India was supporting extending its full-fledged support to USA, and in the meanwhile, India has its own interests. So the MEA are honorable. Mr. Jaishankar didn't speak about it. It was just pulled off from the meeting. They have to put their interests first. So it goes like that.
So I mean, India have very, very carefully balancing between Russia and
Indeed,
USA,
indeed.
you know.
India's got the best right now, sir. India's got the best defense strategists in the world. They're tackling defense very well. Plus, they are tackling digital marketing. It is e journalism. under the garb of politics and religion. I mean, it's politics, sir. It's the need.
So,
Parties do it at the, behest of it's going to be, see, in India, it's going to take a shift because 2024 is going to be very difficult for India in terms of elections. It's going to sweep off maybe because BJP is emerging as one of the strongest parties, you know, after Communist Party of China. So it's marking its feet. It's remarkable. I mean, in terms of the populace support, it's emerging as one of the, the majority of people in India live as Hindus. The minorities are Muslims and the rest of like Christians, Jains, Parsis, and many others as well. So India is trying its best to emerge as a superpower in SARC first, and then emerge as a global leader and make its case in the supranational level. So at the best of sovereignty and at the best of nationalism, one has to play. Yeah, it's the game. The trick is there.
uh, complicated as well, right? You are not yet a liberal democracy. You are still struggling for liberal democracy with various complicated social, political, religion factor. So, Sira, yourself is Kashmiri or I mean, which your hometown?
Sir, I'm precisely Kashmiri from the J&K state, India.
I see. So, your hometown is in Kashmir. Maybe you are Muslim as well.
Right now, I'm based in Delhi, sir.
So you are Muslim as well.
Yeah,
Because all Kashmir are probably Muslim people, right? Muslim believers.
yeah. Actually, it is that it dates back to our history as Kashmir J&K was a country as such historically. So the majority of people here are Muslims, and we you can count us as minority in India, but majority in the state of J&K. Yeah, we have many groups like Tibetans, Tibet people in Ladakh. We have Buddhists there. We have monks. See, it again dates back to history. See, J&K has been a country, a separate country. It has gotten no kind of influence like the partition which happened in 47. Then two countries were formed: the Hindustan, what we call as India, and the Pakistan. So I believe that partition has already aggravated problems for a common person who has been living in Kashmir. Because at the behest of partition, some people from my family, were terminated from this part and they landed up being in Pakistan, while some people from there want to be here and we want to be maybe, independent, and a portion of us wants to be independent. But the scenario is different since two countries have taken hold of, the land. So we are in the ambit of the governing countries. So one has to go on with it while as the local populace, a section of people want to be independent. But right now, there are no economic structures, there's no infrastructure to go independent. So that is one part. The other part wants to stay with India. So there are multiple facets of this. Some people want to stay, some people want to stay, and some people want to migrate to just Pakistan because their relatives are there. So it's one part of the emotion. So the bad part is the partition. So people have suffered at the behest of partition. It's like people who wanted to be here have ended up being there. People, Pakistan did not exist before 47. So it is that everyone wanted to stay in one place, but it's quite unfortunate that circumstances happened, and now we are at the brunt, bearing the brunt. Some people are not ready to accept India as its, defining boundary, and some people there in Pakistan are not ready to accept their government. So it's like it differs. It differs.
It's complicated opinion from Kashmir, right?
Yes, sir.
As last G20, as you mentioned, your foreign minister did not talk anything about Ukrainian-Russian conflict. What about the foreign minister talk about uh, military coup in Burma and how to support democratization in Burma and how to help them? Like, what is Indian role? Did he mention anything about Obama at the G20 meeting?
So well, you can ask him. I'm not answerable for his answers.
I see.
It's his take.
What do
He's the
you
foreign
hear? What
minister.
did you
So
hear? What did you hear at the G20?
so a common person, a researcher, a social activist, a journalist is not allowed to reach a certain point. So therefore, it's just taken away from us. They don't provide us any secretive information about it. It's highly confidential. That too with Indian, right now diplomacy at the level of how our MEA is tackling things. Because, the Pakistan, the neighboring country, already has its own conflicts instead of like the issue, Kashmir precisely, as a bilateral issue, what international community claims to add. But India takes it forth straight away as an integral part, JK as an integral part of like itself. So they don't allow the other countries to take part or have some stake in all of that. So it's highly confidential when it comes to things like Gilgit Baltistan, some parts of like Pakistan occupied Kashmir or Azad Kashmir, what we call as POK, what people around the world know as. So it's going to be a difficult. It's a tiff. It's quite strategic. It is quite of an internal policy. It's difficult to take it from them, the gist, the core of like if they're going to meet again, if what if is it going to be second, third, fourth, fifth meeting, what next. So they keep it very, very high confidential. So see, it precisely is always about your primary interests as a country. So what we think or perceive as a common person or a journalist or a social activist, I think rarely they answer you with this support. They take evidences or support them with that. So it's always politics on papers, on ground. So it goes like that. It goes like that. They didn't speak about it. Well, everyone was in awe that he would speak about it, and he didn't.
Because, G20 is very important international meeting as well. Many important stakeholder and global stakeholder, they can decide global issue, regional issue very much. There was China, there was Russian and European America. Most important people are attending, and India is largest democracy. It has to show some his position, his stand as democracy next to his neighbor, immediate neighbor, and the people, Burmese people is immediate neighbor, friends, and people of India. If their people are traveling and neighbor houses, uh, you know, shouting and there are a lot of fighting in the house, how can India refrain or neglect or ignore to his neighbor? And he did not mention anything about all the guests, even many European America, they willing to support in line with democracy as well. Is India should host and coordinate how democratization in Burma and how to support the world. At least he should initiate it. Instead, he did not initiate it. And he kind of turned away, something like that, your foreign minister.
Indeed, sister, sir. See, it's always about your own internal. You have your internal situations as well. See, India is already facing its the intrinsic things are so much veiled up right now. You see, Jammu and Kashmir, it's a disturbed state. One, number two, the northeastern states, what we call as the Seven Sisters. Okay, in India. So Seven Sisters, the seven states, they again are facing Maoist movement, the Naxalite movement, and the south is also kind of they are pulling out from the basic fabric. So the many, the red corridor issue is there. The issue with China is there. The Arunachal issue is there. India has its own set of issues to deal with. And right now, previously, what I think of is that when Rohingyas were deported, at one point, India provided them the support that they're living here in India. You know, in some parts of our country, they are living, residing. But what is the challenge for the current government or for the successive governments to come is how to accommodate them? Because India has its own set of challenges. You know, the inflation, the poverty, the unemployment, you know, they need to cater to its own people first. See, you know, the minority issues are there, you know, the communalism is there. They need to take care of it. The law order has gone, you know, way wrong, way down the lane. So India has its own primary set of things to deal on. And second, it is completely the discretion of foreign minister to speak on things like the Burma thing, as you rightly put forth. But what can be said? I mean, if something comes up, surely you and I are here to hear about it.
I understand what you mean, but it is the excuse maybe, sometimes it is not much good, good enough to make such kind of excuse by Indian government because not just India, every country has similar problem. US has its own domestic issue as well as European has its own domestic issue. Thailand, Malaysia, they have their own domestic issue that they have to deal. They have to continue dealing with their domestic issue. It doesn't mean you are absolutely turn away from neighbor issue
No,
because
no, it must. Indeed, indeed. Yes.
it's everybody has their own problem. I mean, and
Right.
that is not a new thing. Everybody knows, but they have to at least concern. And the other thing is, Indian worry about Maoist or many insurgent and many conflict for their own problem because they are not preparing. It's liberal democracy. They want to be liberal democracy. They want to be a strong democracy and largest democracy. They have to prepare their environment strong of democracy, neighboring democracy region. They are not preparing Indian government because if they don't prepare, if Burma is not strong democracy, India will get a lot of insurgent, a lot of Maoists are coming because India is neglecting or not willing to prepare for democracy in neighbor house. The neighbor
Yes.
house, if they have a good democracy, India won't face such kind of insurgency and Maoist and anything because they are not preparing at the neighbor house. That insurgent will be, you know, use those where democracy is absent. Because of the absence of democracy, those insurgents are increasing. India's strategy is something else, absolutely wrong. The way they are
Hmm.
excusing are absolutely wrong. It should be prepared. If they make strong democracy in Burma, India will be more safer. India will be more secure. They have some
Indeed,
wrong
indeed. I
calculation.
agree.
They have strong
Indeed.
calculation by Indian strategy, Indian policy maker. They have something mistake, I guess. Maybe you are also policy researcher. You should aware those things. There are many way of
So we
strategy.
put right, right. We put forth this. We try to document this as researchers and try to put it in place before the authorities as such. But you know, it's politics, and at the end of the day, you have your own reservations, and you cannot go beyond that. And they, at one point in time, even if you are a working committee member, they don't take your suggestions, very seriously at times. And at times, as a researcher, you have your limitations. Plus, it's the government's work. I mean, if somebody is there, who is in charge of the things, who can do things, maybe they're not much interested in all of that. While as this point you put forth is really this is going to be very helpful for the Indian government in the long run for India to emerge as the largest democracy, what it aims to at. So yes, I think that I should put this forward with a couple of people who are in place and who can take care of things like this. It's indeed a very good suggestion.
Yes, I feel there was very misunderstanding and miscalculated by Indian policymaker and India security uh, advisor and India foreign policymaker, and India global role, original role policymaker has a big miscalculated and big uh, misunderstanding in that way because they are always blaming there was insurgent, there was Mao's, there was conflict. That in order to reduce such kind of tension or to avoid such kind of thing, they have to do one more step, advance democracy to the next country. In that way, they can
Right,
reduce those risk
right,
area. Because India did not prepare and they don't want to risk or willing to do anything to prevent. It is about prevention. Developing democracy in Burma or other neighbor countries is prevention for India's security, India geopolitics, India safety. In fact, it is like that. But India is only calculating one way, you know, because I don't help democracy in Burma because there was insurgent, there was security problem. Big calculation mistake, you know. As you are scientist,
indeed,
as you are scholar, as you are researcher, you have to find out there are many way, many methods to solve geopolitics, security, or any diplomacy issue, policy issue. So I suggest you have to strongly aware that area. That is important for
indeed,
India.
sir. So it is actually that previously, see, the Modi government here in India, they actually put forth on papers and they formulated a policy called Citizenship Amendment Act. Okay, so it was aimed at the kind of census we do in country. It was like aimed at to know that how much of your populace is there. You know, the population thing. So a census was done in order to know that the categories of people from old citizens to senior citizens to ladies to gents to kids, from 0 to the age group, 60, 70, 80, whatever. So it was put in place to know that how many of people belong to the Hindu religion, the second the Muslims, the third other minorities as well. So it was kind of backed politically, and it couldn't be on papers. It was there, but on ground it couldn't be much successful because people resented to it, the minorities resented to it. And it was that whoever had migrated from some parts of Pakistan or some Rohingyas who had come here and have been staying in India for quite some time, I mean from LOC, other muhajirs, what we call as some people who are refugees precisely. So it was that people who are already here will have a kind of a PR, a permanent residence certificate, and people who have like migrated would be devoid of all of that. So India was tackling one ruckus at that point in time. 2 years ago, the CAA bill was passed, and it was also the NRC which took attention, which stole the limelight of the BJP from like being an fascists, to like acquiring much power and putting in barbaric rule and all of that. So they took it out for some time and put it on a hold. So one challenge was the NRC, the CAA, the Citizenship Amendment Act, which they put forth. And right now they're tackling with it. And I don't think that the more focus would be on Burma or other countries because internally India is disturbed. It is always Hindus versus the Muslims, and it is actually triggered by politics. Otherwise,
Mm,
people on ground have no issues. It's all communal. It's a part of politics. It's three M's. It's money, muscle power. It's
that's
like
it.
that.
I mean, I agree. There will exist many problems, and there are many factors that can cause anything in the domestic problem. I agree, as you mentioned, but I don't mean we should not concern those problems. We have to concern that, as you mentioned, all of them. The Indian government should concern about them. Definitely, there should be solved. But it doesn't mean because of those things, for all, India should not blame everything and ignore everything. That is my point.
Right, right.
They have to
Indeed,
solve
indeed, sir.
the exact problem. Definitely, the exact problem, solve it. We all support, even whoever doing problem from Burma or from Pakistan or Bangladesh or Nepal. They can, India had the right to do it to solve the problem. Exactly, whoever, it doesn't matter. That is your Indian right, Indian government right. But I don't want for one, for the cause of one, we should not blame all things. We have to analyze one by one, case by case. That is my point. Because of that, India now Indian army allow military, Burmese military government to use Indian airspace and to attack democracy activists at the border. This is not justifiable. There is
Right,
nothing
right,
justifiable. It is absolutely violation of Indian airspace, international airspace. Why India keeps
right,
silent, or why India itself is allowed it? Indian army probably allow, India intelligence allow probably. You know, maybe
right,
not. Maybe you don't know or we don't know. But without that, the military Burmese government will not use Indian airspace. And yeah, clearly, they are significant Burmese refugee, purely for the reason of the military coup. They fled into India, not Muslim, not any other insurgent. They are simple civilian and simple, uh, who run for, yeah, military coup and the military shooting and killing ordinary people. For that reason, those people is nothing to blame for any other reason. It should be on the
right.
ground of refugee. India should be, hosted, even not
Yes, India needs to
directly.
take a step on this.
India can still work with international community. You know, India should not do alone if necessary. They can ask international society to work like UNHCR, to work with them and other NGO, INGO, work with them. India not alone to be, take a burdens. There are many things. Yeah, a way to cooperate with many international organizations, many other countries. That is my point. First thing to
Right,
do
right,
cooperation and initiating. India has to lay out. They have to initiate it. They have to speak out. But we have here Burmese refugee, Burmese democracy activists. They have to speak out at the G20 summit or any summit with international society. So other countries can know detail and they can find out a way to cooperate with Indian government. That is my point. But Indians
Right,
simply
right.
blind eyes, they shut their mouth and they ignore. And they never mention about
Yeah,
Burmese issue at the G20 summit or any international event. That is so very unfortunate. It was big mistake and miscalculation and misunderstanding by Indian policymakers.
yeah.
We need to
Yes, this
aware,
needs
we
to be
have to be
highlighted as this
aware.
is one of the pressing issues, right? You rightly said so, sir. I claim it. I acknowledge it. It's a fact. Indian government must do something about it. Yes. While tackling with the internal issues, the intrinsic issues are everywhere. Every government has its own ups, downs, limitations, advantages, disadvantages, challenges. There's always a set of things that comes along. But yeah, they must. It's indeed. I should be with one of my friends. I may put this on record with some of my friends that you should take some steps about it. It's indeed a good
Uh,
suggestion. I value it.
Definitely, I can willing to work with that. I will willing to cooperate that. Maybe I will write one more letter to India Prime Minister, India Foreign Minister. Maybe at least we have to push them. We have to let them listen our policy advice, suggestion.
Indeed, sir. We can be triggering. I can act as a catalyst. Don't worry. I'll try to put it with some of my discuss it with some of my aides, good pals. I'll try to put it. I'll try them to document it because these are some serious issues India needs to take care of. Besides looking on to the neighboring country, Pakistan or Sri Lanka or Bangladesh or Afghanistan, which is emerging as a, maybe as an what you call as emerging threat to India's power, etc. But yes, we need to look on to some other factors as well to emerge as one of the powerful countries. We need to, because we are heading towards it, and G20 is allowing India to make spaces in international arena and mark you know mark like some what you call it as a very remarkable, it's going to be achievement. So it's going to it has its challenges, but yes, this thing we need to. I'll try because I may be a part of the coming working committee G20 soon. So this one point I will try and try to put forward to my seniors that this needs to be taken care of, and I can be discussing with my good friends who are trade commissioners who hold bilateral talks with the different countries. So yes, this I can take care of. This is indeed a good suggestion. We
Mm.
must take this into consideration, and India seriously needs to take care of it and look, not only at the regional level, but yes, at the supranational level. So definitely, this will attract, I suppose, the international kind of attention. This needs global attention, I suppose.
Definitely, please, you have to use your all energy to do such kind of policy advocating, then you will become more and more expert in the policy making area. And it is also,
Inshallah, I hope so.
it
I
will
hope so.
be very good for the future as well for your career.
Yes, sir. See, Modi ji's presidency, BJP put forward its agenda of first, it was a set of things. First, it was that Kashmiri issue, the state of J&K, which is supposed to be an integral part of India. It had its accession with the state government. And first, its agenda was to remove the accession and put it straight away on papers that now it is, completely under our control. And number one was that. Second, it was that we would try to take India to greater heights, what the previous governments couldn't. So G20 is a wing of G20. You can it's a sublet of trade and cultural diplomacy, wherein they're trying to put together diplomats wherein they're trying to put the head of the states together so that India and other countries they come together and there's more trade. Okay, It's more of trade diplomacy, wherein there is a two-way contact, people-to-people contact. It's more about a people-to-people connect. It's more about trade. It's more about culture, and precisely, it's more about recognizing India's strengths and putting forward it in on the world feet, and telling the world that India is emerging as a superpower in a very short time. And I suppose that India is putting forth its policies, be it public policies, and the Modi government has really tried to put forward people's need before it. And that is what comes under the G20. It's going to be a G20 summit. The heads of the state, the business communities, the business tycoons, the business giants, all of the business community as such. One event was, I suppose, 2 months ago was conducted that was known as the B20. So it was a sublet of G20 itself. That was a business forum, the business forum across India that was, supposed to reach at a space where a symposium was conducted, where a event in a convocation hall it was conducted, and heads of other states, like one good friend of mine who's a consul general of Georgia, Mr. Roger, he also attended that, and other consul generals and other stakeholders, the business tycoons, the big shots. So they participated in it and tried to see what next avenues can be created, how employment can be generated, so how people to people contact can be initiated, how trade can help two countries, further its development. So it's more based on the economic side. It's more of the economic empowerment for the country itself. So that is the basic idea of G20. And the sublets of it are like B20, which in itself are promotion of the business schools, okay, the business houses, how people to people connect. Like, for example, we have some good trade relations, for example, with Israel. So India has gotten good trade relations with Israel. So it's more of Israeli people to Indian people, how they connect, how business can be, maneuvered, how we can take it next level. It's the sole idea is about that. So it was one of the agendas of BJP to put forth and put in place that to show the world, to enlighten the world about its emerging economy, to tell the people that we are emerging as one strong nation, and with us you can connect, with us we can have deals, be it from defense, be it from smaller items, imports to exports. So it was more about import export things. So it's more about grabbing some space in the political arena. It's more about that. It was actually held a month ago, I suppose, in January or so. And the second one is going to come up maybe by April. So it was, conducted and convened in the where it was Prime Minister Modi was the then Chief Minister of the state of Gujarat. So it was held there. And previously, some days ago, a G20 summit, which is known as the Spirituality Summit, was also held in the state of Varanasi, which is known as the land of gods in India. So it was more about trade and cultural diplomacy, and many, dignitaries, many esteemed personalities and tall figures, they came up and they shared their experiences and how they can come up and how trade relations can be better between countries, and how economies can grow and how we can impact the world and make world a better place to live in. So some days ago it was G20 summit, and prior to that, 2 months ago, I suppose in January, it was B20. And now they're again convening it by the month of April. I don't know the exact date, but it's on cards, I suppose, the upcoming, event. So it's going to be held on April. I don't know, in the month of April, precisely, don't know the dates. And inshallah, maybe by September or so, they are going to convene the biggest, summit, which is going to be G20. So everywhere they're trying to enjoy the independence and glorify country India, its nationalism, its values, its spiritual, moral, cultural values, and put it to the world that how we are emerging as a strong economy. So it's going to be like that. Yes.
So maybe we can discuss more detail about future G20 events, upcoming G20 events. And thank you very much for today.